Today's show is sponsored by Take Action University, where we only graduate implementers. And we want you to stay tuned because January 2023, Take Action University will be opening its doors, and you better take action so you can be an implementer. Welcome to the show. Today we are talking about writing the story of your life, of your business, of your dreams on this National Authors Day. And I'm joined today here on Talk to Me by my pal, my friend, my buddy, my accountability partner, Miss Lisa Ducharme, the 15-minute results coach. And I'm so excited for us to have this discussion today, because we're talking about one of my favorite topics, which is writing. And Lisa, you know, I write in my sleep, literally, because I always keep a notebook by my bed. I have been dreaming of being an author since I was a little girl. I was telling everybody, when I grow up, I'm going to write a book. I felt like I was threatening the world. And then I finally stopped sitting on my behind and actually did that thing. And I'm happy to say on this National Authors Day, I can say that I'm a 3-time best-selling author on Amazon. Whoop, 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 whoop. And my friend Lisa is a best-selling author as well. Lisa, how are you feeling on this National Authors Day?
I am so excited. I think there is nothing better, because I don't like to write. Unlike you, I never wanted to be a best-selling author. I am so strategic when I write and so bulleted when I write. There's no way in this world I ever thought that I would be an author, let alone a best-selling author. So I am excited. I can celebrate this day literally.
You know, it really was exciting too, because it literally just happened. And I'm gonna put up here our book on, hold on, there it is. This is the book that Lisa and I collaborated on. It's called The Truth About How to Save Money and Time, Amazingly Simple Business Success Tips. And as of October 12, 2022, it was a #1 new release on Amazon and a bestseller. Lisa, when we first started talking about this, do you remember it was just simply us kind of rambling in our head about all the things that pissed us off about what we wish we knew when we first started talking about having a business? Because as you know, and some of the people that are viewing it may know it as well, I kept saying, oh, I want to have a business. And Lisa was telling me, for those of you that's watching or listening on the replay, Lisa was saying, Brenda, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. I was like, what are you talking about? Because the reality is, if your business is not making money, you have a hobby. You don't have a business. And a lot of people are dabbling in what they think is business, which is why we created this book, so that we can help people get out of hobby mode and get right into business mode, like Lisa helped me do. Lisa, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. It's interesting because as Brenda and I were going through everything, it was like, oh, well, have you tried this? Or have you tried that? And what's your why? And then she was like, well, what do you mean, what's my why? Well, what's your why? There has to be a reason why you want to do what you do. And even before we talked about the niche, we went ahead and we talked about the...
I was trying to figure out what button I hit there, Lisa. I was trying to give you the stage, and of course I just did it all backwards. So let's just leave it like this.
I'm for it. I don't need the stage, thank you. We can share it together. But it was interesting because, the 7 levels deep, the 5 levels wide, the passion, the results, etc., have been around for years.
Wow.
But nobody had ever asked me what my why was when I was looking at doing a business. Nobody ever said, what do you want to do 20 years down the road or 30 years down the road, when I was doing my business.
Okay.
And I realized that that's why a lot of times we fail. It's because we don't know our why. And it's so easy to give up or switch over to something else when you don't understand your why. So as Brenda and I kept talking about all the different things that she knew and all the different things that I knew, we realized we had to share it with people because it's not always easy to find. You have to actually be looking because there's billions of things on the internet today. And it's trying to narrow it down, and that's why we came up with the book.
And Lisa, what I think is interesting about all of this is that we came up with the book with no thoughts about becoming best-selling authors as the book and thing. We just wanted to get the information out so that people that were in the position we were in wouldn't have to struggle so much and spend so much unnecessary money, time, and effort on things that really didn't matter. So they could learn from our missteps, or shall I say, learn from our learning experiences, because each time we spent more money or learned a new concept or took a new program, we actually learned something that's helped us get to where we are right now, where we're able to get our branding on point, get our finances right, work on the programs that are really serving us. So that's really cool. But we're going to stop talking about that for right now and actually talk about some books. So I want to start with Lisa. Could you share one of your books that you have in your pocket? We have several authors that we want to highlight today, and we'll make sure we get to all the ones that we have to highlight. So who's your first author that you'd like to highlight?
Okay, so I want to point out, you know how I'm throwing this out there,
Right.
that epic adventures in books come in all size, shapes, and forms. So I absolutely love this book by Sarah Plummer. And she is the founder of Semper Sarah and the Just Roll With It boot camps. And she is a former Marine captain and 5-time military Olympic athlete. And she does a lot of holistic coaching. And she had a lot of medical issues where she could have literally just been down and out, and that would have been it. And what she did was she said, you know what? I am not going to let myself be down. I am going to do what I need to do. I'm going to eat healthier. I'm going to work out. I'm going to find the ways that are going to make me better. And of course, faith in her particular case is obviously very big. Actually, I think faith is big for a lot of us. And it was very interesting in reading this. And Sarah just really, if you ever think of somebody who could have been in the absolute worst situation in the world and could have given up, she is that person, and she made the decision not to give up. And that is one of the reasons why I love Just Roll With It.
Okay, so we got Sarah Plummer, Just Roll With It. And what I want to do, Lisa, is when our live is over, I want to go and connect these people's books and their Amazon links, so the people that might want to go check these books out can go check them out, because they've been valuable to us, and we want people to not have to work so hard for it. So we're going to make us a list, and we'll get that in the description. So give me a few minutes after this is over, you guys, and I will link everybody's Amazon link so that you can find these books. Now, my first person I want to highlight, I don't have the book here with me, Lisa, so I took the liberty of creating just a little slide of it. It is by Dan Tricarico. It is Right Here and Now, the Mindfulness Writing Teacher's Guide to Finding the Zen in Their Pen. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Dan, one of my favorite people on the planet, not only because he wrote the foreword to my first #1 best-selling book, but because he's just a phenomenal person. Dan Tricarico is a high school English teacher and author of The Zen Teacher, Creating Focus, Simplicity, and Tranquility in the Classroom, and You're a Teacher, so act like one, improving your stage presence in the classroom. In his spare time, he enjoys reading and writing, listening to classic rock, staring out the windows, and watching old sitcoms. Dan shares the Zen teacher experience around the country as a presenter and a speaker. And his newest book here, Right Here and Now, is about mindfulness writing for teachers. And I'm so excited because Dan's point of view is so awesome, Lisa. If you're ever in his presence, you will find yourself laughing, crying, and just having a blast, because he has one of the biggest and happiest and peaceful personalities you'll meet. So that's my author of the day I'd like to put out, is Mr. Dan Tricarico, English teacher extraordinaire, and since one of my favorite teachers was my English teacher. I'm happy to promote anything that teachers are doing because to me, teachers are superheroes. And it's because of a teacher that I have my love of reading and writing because Miss King, my English teacher, told me that the beauty of writing and reading was that it can take you places that you can't physically go, and you should enjoy the trip. So thank you, Mr. Dan Tricarico, for your book. And I'm excited that I've already ordered my copy and I can't wait to read it. Lisa, who's your next author you want to highlight?
Okay, so unlike Brenda, I'm very work-centered. And for me, I can lose myself in learning techniques and things that help me be better. And not only be better at what I do, but better help people. So mine is actually from Brian Brim, and it's strength-based selling.
Okay.
And one of the things, the reasons that I really love this book is because Gallup and Strength Finders helps us identify our strengths, things that we do naturally. And I've always said I'm terrible at sales. I am probably the worst person at sales you could possibly imagine. It's not within me. And Gallup came up with the book Strength-Based Selling. And what I like about it is I can take my strengths and actually learn how to be better at selling using my strengths. So what it does is it says, okay, Lisa, you're really not selling anything. What you're doing is you're doing the things that you do naturally, i.e. strategic. That's my number one strength. And I can take the knowledge and the information I have about coaching, and I can give people small little samples from the strategic side without actually being somebody who sells. And so this book walks you through different actions for each of our strengths. And that's why Strength-Based Selling by Brian Brim from Gallup is literally one of my favorite books.
Okay. Well, here's my next person is a veteran, Lisa. Look at that.
Not a shocker.
He was in the United States Navy on board the USS Carl Vinson CVN-70. His ship carried the first planes to commit an airstrike of Afghanistan. It is none other than my friend, mentor, and advisor, Mr. Ricco S. McAdory. His book is Your God-Given Identity. It is about discover, maximize, and manifest the real you. When I tell you, Lisa, that this book is everything for me, the way I love to do things. It talks about how you can show up and show out and be the best version of yourself. Your God-Given Identity is an excellent read for those who are in search of their God-given identity. Knowing who you are in God is essential in building a relationship with God. This book lays out essential groundwork in laying strong, sturdy foundations and establishing your identity. Because see here, Lisa, it is a true belief of mine that if you don't know your identity, it's hard to show up as your best self in your personal or your business life. Because when you are not clear who you are, you will do anything for money and anything to succeed. And when you are clear on your God-given identity, then you have some standards and some morals and a character foundation that you can stand on when things get crazy, when you're worrying about self integrity and the things that we talk about, the importance of being someone that your word is your bond. This book for me was the book that said, yeah, baby, you can do that. So thank you, Ricco S. McAdory. And again, this will be in the description so you can get your copy because it is fire. Okay, Lisa, who's your next person?
So my next person is a book that I loaned to somebody, so I don't have, but I do want to bring it up because it's The Power of Broke.
Oh, yes, that's a good one, Lisa.
Isn't it though? Mm-hmm. One of the most important things that we don't think about when you start off in business is a lot of time, and actually even in life, let's just go there. It could be life as well. You're just getting off in a new relationship and you have a lot of money put in savings or you have money for your business. And all of a sudden you think you're a millionaire and then you go spend it and you don't do as much as if you had nothing. So even if you have money in the bank and you're starting off, the power of broke reminds you to start off as if you're broke. Everything I do on the basis that I'm broke, even if I'm not broke, even if I have money in the bank, because it's important just to make sure that you only buy what you really need. You know, if you have a big wedding and you pay $1 million for a wedding, you're going to have really nice pictures, but could you have had really nice pictures if you only spent $100,000?
Ooh, that's good, Lisa.
And so when you think about the power of broken, you think about who you are. That's one of the reasons I love the power of broke. And I loan it to people all the time. I do have it on my Kindle, but I just think that's so important that when you think about the different things and the different authors and the different books out there, that you find the tools and the techniques and the information that are going to benefit you, because in every single book, there is a story, and the power of broke is all about living within your means and also making sure that you only get the necessities.
And because I want to make sure that everyone gets to see this, I've been trying to do this all in real time. So those of you that are listening in or hearing, you want to know, we ain't playing here today. This book, The Power of Broke, is by Daymond John. So I'm just trying to get people's covers up here so you can see them. This book, Lisa pretty much beat me into submission until I read it, because I really didn't want to read it or listen. I was just like, Lisa, I'm so over. But the reality is, it's an amazing book, and Mr. Daymond John it was just really eye-opening, and it really made me think about how I manage and handle my money and what I am capable of in the long run. So that was really pretty cool. That was cool. Okay, it's my turn for my next book. Look, because I got all kind of stickies and stuff in this one. This is my new obsession, The Power of One More, the ultimate guide to happiness and success, Mr. Ed Mylett. Now, Lisa, I'm obsessed with Ed Mylett. If I say his name one more time, I'm probably sure I'm going to get slapped. But when I think about the things that Mr. Mylett went through with his family, him and his wife having to shower outside their apartment when the water, how he had I call it the put together car. I forget the term he used, but he had basically another car body Velcroed onto his car body. And then to go from that to living in his dream house to getting sick and having his daughter Bella be his reason why he has gone on to take better care of himself, because he couldn't imagine another man walking his baby girl down the aisle. The stories in here, he has stories about his beliefs, about his faith, about his family, and his father who recently passed, God rest his soul. Just the challenges of growing up. I grew up with an alcoholic father, so I know that feeling of always feeling like you got to know which one's coming through the door. But where Mr. Mylett is right now, he is my dream interview, Ed Mylett. You know that, Lisa. So I'm calling you, sir. If you hear this, Mr. Mylett, come on, hook a sister up. Anybody that knows Ed Mylett, tell him I'm his biggest fan, because this here right here, this book, Lisa, I've been reading it, The Power of One More. And the reality is, although I didn't know that's what I was doing, I am a one more thinker, because in the mornings when I get up early and I don't want to do it, and I'm going, I just got to get up one more time and do it one more day. And, as I'm doing that, I'm losing weight. I'm getting stronger. I'm able to lift more in the gym. There's so many times I want to get. And then when I got this book, I find myself saying, no, one more rep, one more step, one more walk. I can do one more course today. So Lisa, don't beat me down. So yes, this is my book of author I want to acknowledge is Mr. Ed Mylett, The Power of One More. If you're ready to change your way of thinking and you're ready to have an open mind, then you need to get The Power of One More by Ed Mylett. Okay, Lisa.
The Power of One More reminds me of Desmond Doss. So he was the conscientious objector who actually won the Congressional Medal of Honor, and they have a movie out there about him. He was a combat medic, and he saved hundreds of people, and each time he said, I just need one more. I just need to go get one more. God, let me get one more. So I was very excited when Brenda told me about one more, and I thought, oh, yep. There you go. I can actually make a connection to that.
Okay, so who's your next book?
So my next book is Larry Broughton. So, of course, another veteran, a former Army veteran, Special Forces. he really is about the entrepreneur revolution. And the book is Victory, and he updates it periodically. This is one of the newer ones. It's really all about taking action and giving you different steps at different times to take. I really like this book because it talks about how you establish relationships. It talks about networking. It talks about the gap. And I will tell you, Brenda and I often talk about the gap and how there's a gap in everything that we do in business. And so if you're interested, that's one of the things that I really like. He's about planning. He breaks it down, and it doesn't matter whether or not you're already in business. You want to evaluate your impact and transform your life. This is a really good book. Even though as I was reading it, I really think it was meant for veterans.
Okay.
It is good for anybody. But Larry Broughton, he is a dynamic speaker. I've heard him speak before as well. And I really enjoyed this book, Victory.
Okay. And we got to make sure we get the links to all of those books in there. You know,
Yes.
There, I was trying to find my other. Oh, this is the book I want to talk about also. Is Queenology. You know, I have my little tiara up here. I'm in renovation, so I couldn't bring it down, or else I would have it on today because I am going to be, I am the global tap-in queen, bringing the message to the masses that I am so ready to help people tap into their best life, Lisa. But it all started for me when I thought of the term Queenology, and I thought it was original until I picked up this book from Pastor R.C. Blakes Jr., where he talks and really lays out Queenology in a way that I had not even thought about it, in a biblical way. So I just absolutely adore this book. If you are a woman and you're trying to get your royal sense of self on, this is a book for you. It's called Queenology by Pastor R.C. Blakes Jr. And let me tell you, he's the founder of the Father-Daughter Talk movement and the author of the Father-Daughter Talk book. He is the pastor of the New Hope Family of Church and presiding bishop of the Family of Churches Fellowship International. Queenology. It will change the way you see yourself. It will change the way you see the world. And you may even get a tiara and start to do the royal wave. All right, Lisa, what's your next book? Okay, so maybe you won't do it, but somebody will do it because I will.
I totally agree that somebody will. So my next book I don't have because I have it on Kindle.
Okay.
And one of the things that I really love is stories about the way we do different things. And it's a book by Ulysses S. Grant, and it is Cigars, Whiskey, and Winning Leadership Lessons.
Okay.
So one of the things that book actually taught me, and I love it because it's an easy read. Anything that's an easy read is my friend. It gives you a piece of something he wrote, said, or did, and then it lays it out into the lessons we can use it for today.
Okay.
Because his leadership lessons were phenomenal. He was one of the best generals that we had in the military, and he sucked as a president. No disrespect to the man, but you know, his leadership skills in the military did not translate perfectly to the United States as president of the United States. But I really, really love this book about Ulysses S. Grant and all the different lessons that we learned. And when you think about all the lessons that we learn, not only in the military, but in life itself, imagine, and I'm saying this because I want to encourage people to actually write a book.
Okay.
I am somebody who does not like to write.
Okay.
When I joined the military, my reading comprehension was below 3rd grade, and I didn't even learn what a noun was until I had to teach my kids.
Okay.
So I think that the only thing stopping people from writing a book sometimes is knowing what to write and how to write it.
Okay.
And I think one of the things that people should do is think about their life. You want to write an epic adventure? Write an epic adventure. It can be fiction, nonfiction. You take it any way you want it. Mark Cubin I was listening to an audiobook some time ago, and I was traveling and I needed to listen to audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, well, I like Mark Cubin, so let me buy his book.
Mm-hmm.
It's How to Win at the Sport of Business.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, so I'm starting to listen to it. And the first thing he says is, this is not a book. People want me to write about my, and I'm dying as I'm listening to this because I'm like, I didn't bother proofing this before I did it.
Mm-hmm.
But I love it. What he did is he took all the blogs that he had written and he made them into a book.
Okay.
And that was his book. So if you are somebody who blogs,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to start thinking about writing a book, start a blog.
Okay.
And then write your blog and eventually make your blogs into a book.
That'll work.
Because I think everybody has a story. And I think whether you're someone like me who's very regimented, very, not very creative, but,
Mm-hmm.
you give me facts, you give me information, I can give you the problem, the solution, and then tell you how to fix it. Or someone like Brenda, who just got a story for everything. She could tell a story in 2.3 seconds. She could write all kinds of books. She could have 20,000 different pen names and you'd have no idea. She's that creative when she writes.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I do have fun writing.
You do. And I think everybody can write a book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything should stop us because everybody's got a story. And I just gave 2 examples of different types of books that you don't even have to know how to write a book to do.
And here's the best part, Lisa. Most people don't even know. A lot of people don't even write their books. They have ghostwriters. People like me that can write stories in their sleep, write for other people that don't necessarily have the talent to do it. But if you can give us the concept, we can write something that will be in your voice that can help you. But so I'm going to show 2 more books before I give you the time to do one last book before we really talk about writing the epic adventure. Of course, I'm going to talk about Tap In. We're going to talk about soul searching, get on board for transformation using the Tap In method. That was the very first book that I was able to get a #1 bestseller badge out of. And I love that book because it was my first attempt, because nobody didn't tell me I couldn't do it. And if I knew what I knew now, I probably wouldn't even have attempted it. But it's the program I created that will help people close the gap between their desires and reality. And then, of course, I want to share with everyone, and I'm trying to find, where did I put that? Because I have all these different slides here, you guys. So bear with me for a second. I do not see it. And I do not believe, but I'm going to just use this one. But I wanted to use a different one because the daddy-daughter dynamic is released now. It's official. And here we go. I want to get the right one up here. So we're going to put the one that shows you that it is an Amazon #1. There we go. Get the right one. It is an Amazon #1 new release, and it is a bestseller. That's the book I collaborated with 12 other women on that tells the story of forgiveness, healing, self-awareness, and most importantly, self-love. These ladies poured their hearts and souls into this book. It was a journey for each of them to go and write this book as well, Lisa. And I hope that anyone that is ready to learn what it means to truly forgive, truly walk in love, self-love, and awareness will get this book, and also join the Facebook community named after book, the Daddy-Daughter Dynamic Community, where we're having conversations about how to get your healing and how to move past your stuck points, because no one should stay in trauma or in pain for the rest of their life when we have so much to live for. Lisa, do you have anybody else you want to highlight?
So you know what? There's one more, and
Okay.
it's only because I think that a lot of times there's so much going on in life, and everybody in the workforce is really challenged today.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the books that I really like is The Best Team Wins by Adrian Gostick and Chester Elton. What I really like about this book is it highlights how we are working with different generations. Each generation works differently.
Mm-hmm.
And this book really gives you guidance on how you all can work together and how everybody can work together. It doesn't matter what your personality type is. It doesn't matter your age. And let me tell you something, working with a 20-something-year-old is extremely challenging when you're my age at 57, because we have such different dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the way that he talks about the different generations, and and really brings in the team that wins and helps people identify and gives a whole bunch of different examples of how to bring team into the organization.
That's a good thing. It goes back to what we talk about in our book, in you know, Amazingly Simple Business Tips, because part of it is understanding that in order for you to have it, you can't do it alone. Even a solopreneur, entrepreneurs, whatever you want to call yourself, a hobbyist, most people don't truly do it alone. Because, and I had someone the other day just say, "Oh, yes, I do. I do all my sewing myself." I said, "No, not really." And they said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Do you go to the fabric store? Then there's a lady that has to cut your fabric, or a gentleman. There's people that may help you pick out thread or a pattern. There's always someone that had hands on something that you did. There's nothing that you create that did not require someone else to do something towards your goal of creating a purse, a dress, or whatever it is." When she sewed, she says she never thought about it that way. But again, I'm the solutionist. I see things other people often miss. So it was easy to have that conversation. But as we're talking about, the title of this today was Epic Adventures Worth Writing. And what I want people to leave from here today with, Lisa, is that all of us have an epic adventure. You may not even think you have one, but we all have a story. If it's nothing more than that you grew up without incident, or maybe you grew up in a trauma situation, whatever it is, there's a story there, and there's a story of triumph somewhere. There's always a thread. And I would say I can find a gift in anything, Lisa. And oftentimes people do not use their creativity to tell their stories. And when I tell people I can write, and you know this, I go to writing prompt classes. I take writing prompts. If you can give me a couple of words, I can make a story around it. But that's a gift that I felt like my mother gave me when she encouraged me as a young child to always carry a pen and a pad around. And every time we went places, I was supposed to write down what I saw and everything. And then I had to write it in a story. It's something I did with my own child. I'm happy to say that Alex is a beautiful storyteller. One that sticks in my mind, Lisa, is when Alice was little, they had to do a pickle, a fedora, there was like blue skies or something. And Alex wrote the most amazing story. Somewhere in the house, that story's still there. And if I ever find it again, I'm going to share it on this channel. But the point to that is that it just takes a little bit of thought and a little bit of creativity, and you can do it. And if you don't feel like you have the skills, then hire someone that can get your story told. Because I don't care how boring you think your life is. I'm sure a writer worth their salt can find something interesting that maybe you did not even see about your life. What do you think, Lisa?
I totally agree, especially as somebody who is not creative in the writing world. Like I said, I'm very bulleted. When you look at the books that I do, you will see there's not a whole lot of passion behind what I write. There's a lot of fact-based, there's a lot of information, but you can write any kind of book that you want. Because like Brenda said, everybody has that inspiration. Everybody has either the positive or the negative, something people want to know. Because there's always something that happened. Shoot, it could just be 10 pages. By the way, 10 pages is a lot harder to write than 170.
It sure is. And oftentimes I think people don't think about the just the basic things in their life. If you think about as children, most of us, if you say, think about things your mother used to say or that your dad used to say that make you laugh. I remember my dad used to tell the craziest stories because he had to walk uphill both ways to school in the snow barefooted. I'm like, dude, really? So I'm like, okay, that don't compute for me. But it's stories like that I would hear as a child that would make, or things or sayings that people say. He used to always say when we would do something stupid, as I would say, Daddy would say, "What do you think? My head sit on a swivel and screw on with a monkey wrench?" Who says that? My mother's, "I better hear a rat piss on cotton." Just all these different sayings that when you weave them together, you could think about myself, my little brothers, because I'm the oldest of three, Junie and Bruce, and we're sitting there. And imagine the three of us sitting on the step, or in the house, we're acting a fool. And all of a sudden, the story begins with They sat on the porch just playing marbles and jacks. Then all of a sudden, out of the silence, we heard the big voice say, "I better hear a rat piss on cotton." They stopped in silence. Nobody moved. Everyone knew Bruce would be the one to break the silence because Bruce was the rebel of the crew. Brenda was too afraid of her own shadow to even think outside of what Mama said, but Junie had already begun to cry. That was just a normal day in the house of the Lancaster kids. You see, it didn't take much, but did you see the picture of us sitting on the step, everybody doing their little part to make the story move along? It's as simple as that. What happens when you just take the normal, just everyday things that happen in your life and make them something fun? I always say we have the pen, Lisa, and if you're going to write a story, make it an epic adventure. And I hope that everyone that heard us today honoring the authors that make us light up, that they will understand that they each have an epic adventure worth writing if they just take the time to do it. Your final thoughts, Lisa?
I totally agree. There should be nothing that stops you from writing a book, even if it's a short story.
And the best part about it is those of you that are ready to start writing your story, we know some people that can help you do it. You have Pastor Mercy Miles Jenkins over there at Legacy Driven Publishing. You have the Gift Igniter, D. Emmanuel himself, who is not playing. There are so many different opportunities. And in January, when Take Action University opens, there's going to be opportunity for self-publishers to get information so they too can become self-published authors like Lisa and myself. So whatever your desire is when it comes to writing, we encourage each of you to begin journaling. Start there. Write a sentence just every day. Write one word. Start reading more. Listen to audiobooks. Let your creative juices start to flow so that you can write an epic adventure worth writing. We thank you for joining us today here on our National Authors Day. We hope that you will begin to take some joy in writing your own story. Again, you have the pen, and since you have the pen, write an epic adventure. And remember, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. So choose wisely. And with that thought, I want y'all to think about this. Happy National Authors Day. I am a writer. Everything you say or do may end up in a story. That's the truth. A lot of the stories that I write are about the people that I love and some that I maybe not even like. But either way, they become a character in my story. And my story is truly an epic adventure that is just beginning. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Brenda.